Joining us now is writer and broadcaster Esther Krakue. Esther, we had a great laugh earlier this year when South Park took the mickey out of the Sussexes. Well, another popular cartoon has taken aim at the couple as well. Look, we'll show you that in a second, but before we get to the clip, why do you think satire works so well when it comes to the Sussexes?
I think it's because their life has been so ridiculous. Obviously, being members of the royal family, anything to do with them is obviously big news, but it's the kind of sensationalist way that they left the royal family and have been crying for privacy and have done everything against actually getting their privacy, signing multi-million dollar deals with the likes of Netflix and Spotify. And, you know, it's the embodiment of being famous for nothing. They're kind of like the Kardashians of the royal family, and it's entertaining to watch. And there's so much material for satire when it comes to these two.
Well, here's the clip from Family Guy.
That's fine, I'll go it alone. Just like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
Sir, your millions from Netflix for no one knows what.
Put it with the rest of them.
Babe, time to do our daily $250,000 sponsored Instagram post for Del Taco.
I shouldn't have left the made-up nonsense.
Esther, they didn't miss, did they?
They definitely didn't. You know, Family Guy is one of my favorite shows. I was a bit sad when Seth MacFarlane stopped writing for them a few years ago, but I think, you know, this is a very easy win to sort of make fun of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And they're right. You know, they're famous for doing God knows what. I mean, their podcast with Spotify was cancelled, understandably so, apparently because of differing expectations. But I think it just drove home the fact that really they have very little to offer. So Prince Harry, as a member of the royal family, when he was, you know, an active working member, was quite an interesting character. You know, he had all these stories. The royal family actually humanized him. He was the fun-loving, you know, ginger guy that everyone loved to be around. And since he's been married, he's been a complete bore, a complete misery, snooze fest even. And then Meghan Markle is just, you know, a B-list actress known for one role. She's not exactly a biochemist or a doctor or anything really of substance. She's just someone that plays pretend for a living. And somehow that's made the couple think that they have so much to offer. And I think they've really been humbled by the reality, and so has Netflix, because I don't suspect they've got their money's worth for that $100 million deal that they signed with the couple.
Now, Charles has always taken an interest in international affairs. He met with a Palestinian charity and its leaders this week. It's a difficult dispute. Has he struck the right tone?
It seems that he has. You know, after the attacks on October 7th, that saw over 1,400 Israelis butchered by Hamas terrorists, you know, the king didn't waste any time coming out to condemn the attacks and obviously showing solidarity with Israel and its victims, and so did Prince William. And it was actually quite an interesting contrast with the BBC that even refused to call the Hamas terrorists, even though they are a designated terrorist group here in the UK and have been so for a few years. But he's also showing concerns for the humanitarian crisis in Palestine at the moment. He met with the chief executive of UNICEF, representatives from the British Red Cross and other humanitarian groups. And, you know, as the world is watching this crisis unfold, he obviously understands that it's not an easy solution. There's no easy solution to this situation, and there are really going to be no winners on either side. And I think he struck the nuance of the crisis going on, and that's something that we appreciate. I often say that you can't get a better diplomat or representative than members of the royal family, because that is literally their job. They are supposed to echo public sentiment, and you know, King Charles has always been very good at that. You know, Prince William as well, he is very passionate about humanitarian issues. I mean, one of the causes that he's championing is to try and eradicate homelessness here in Britain. So clearly humanitarian issues are also close to his heart. But, you know, with regards to this crisis, I think King Charles struck the perfect note, actually.
Now, Halloween is a big thing for the Americans, and it's grown in popularity over the years in the rest of the Anglosphere. But the royal family has some historical quirks, which has meant some of the royals have had to celebrate the holiday somewhat more subtly. Here is Meghan on the Ellen DeGeneres show with her story about celebrating Halloween with Prince Harry.
So you went with Harry to a Halloween party and they had no idea it was the two of you?
No. It was a post-apocalypse theme, so we had all of this very bizarre costuming on, and we were able to just sort of have one final fun night out.
So, Esther, what's the royal rule and how do they get around it?
So the royal rule around the royals and how they dress in public in general goes back to Queen Victoria, where she effectively stipulated that all members of the royal family have to conduct themselves with decorum and dignity in public, which means that costumes are completely out of the question. Now, the late Queen Elizabeth actually dressed up as Cinderella at some point before she actually ascended the throne. So it's not like they cannot do it at all, but it was obviously behind closed doors. In public, they have to, be royal and act like they're on the job, because they always are. But the royal family has an unspoken rule that active members of the royal family can't dress up in any costume in public. Now, obviously, we all remember Prince Harry and his Nazi costume at a Halloween party almost 20 years ago now. But it's something that the royals have stuck true to. Obviously, Prince Harry and Meghan and Princess Eugenie and I believe Beatrice went to a Halloween party a few years ago, but that was very low-key. It wasn't sort of in any capacity as a working royal, but it has been a rule that they have stuck to for many years. I can't imagine actually seeing King Charles in costume now. So I think it's only certain members of the royal family that would be interested in doing that. But it's definitely an American import. I've been told not to give children raisins for Halloween, lest they bomb my house.